Hello students, today we are going to learn the term friction. This is the very important topic for the mechanics part of the NEET and JEE exams. It comes in the Newton's laws of motion. Now we will learn what is friction basically is. Suppose you are given two surfaces and they are in contact with each other. So one surface is going this direction, other surface is going in this direction. So there is a common surface between them. So basically there are two objects. One is object 1, object 2, and both are moving in opposite direction. And there is a sliding of the surfaces in the given area. So there the friction arises. So friction is the force, it always opposes the motion. And while solving the problem of Newton's laws of motion, you have to make the equation. And for the equation, we have to put the appropriate values. So what things we should remember? What point we should remember about the friction that we will see. The first point is that friction always acts in opposite direction of motion of the object under consideration. So this object is moving on this side. So friction for this object will be in this direction. We can show it by small f. And if we consider the lower object, it is moving towards left. The friction for that object will be towards right. So this object is moving towards right, therefore friction for that object is toward left. With respect to this object, this is moving towards left. It is stationary, it may be stationary, but as this is moving towards right, so this will be seems to be moving left. So friction for this lower object will be towards right side. That is F. That is the one point. Second point, friction always acts along the common surface in contact. So here this is the surface. So friction will be acting along it, along the surface, parallel to the surface. Now third point, which is very very important, friction is self-adjusting force. What is meant by that? It is a self-adjusting force. So meaning, I'm giving you example, like suppose we have one surface is given here. On that surface, one block is lying. So this block is lying. Okay. And one force is there acting on this block towards right. Say F equals to, we will take consider different values. And there is a friction between the surface and the block. So block will be given certain mass m. Okay. For instance, we'll consider m as say 10 kg, and we'll consider acceleration due to gravity for finding the weight as 10 meter per second square for simplicity. So now when this F is acting on its this block, Suppose when F is say 10 Newton, then this friction force will be in opposite to this motion, because this force will try to produce motion towards the right. So friction will oppose that motion. So friction will be towards left along the surface as per the point 2. So friction is self-adjusting. What is meant by that? It will adjust its value as per the applied force. So here friction would be also 10 Newton. Then there will suppose we are increasing F to 20 Newton. Then again friction will adjust its value as per the applied force. So F would be 20 Newton. Here I'm saying applied force means what? Applied net force. There may be two or more forces acting on this object. So you have to find net of that in that given direction along the surface, and the friction will be opposite to that one, opposite to the direction of the net force. So this will go on, but till what? Like forever the friction will adjust the applied force? So no. There is a limit up to which it can oppose or adjust the applied force, and that is called as F max value. So maximum value of frictional force, say F max. So it is given by mu n, where mu is nothing but coefficient of friction, and n will be normal reaction of the surface. Okay. So in this case, suppose you have given mu equals to 0.4. So F max value will come out to be what? So F max value will be mu into n. Normal reaction would be balanced by this mg. So n would be equal to mg. So we can put mg. But remember this point, student, this n is not always equal to mg. It depends upon the orientation of this object and orientation of the system, like whether it is in acceleration or not. So here is stationary and directly it is horizontal, so n will be equal to mg. If it is inclined, the n will be different. So this is the simplest case I'm considering. So n is not always mg. So mu, here it is mg, so mu is 0.4, mass is given 10, and g is also 10, so we get 40 Newton. So what is mean by this? Now again, it is very important one. So F max value, that is the maximum value it can adjust with the applied force, is what? 40 Newton. So that means if the applied force value exceeds that value, 40 Newton, the F will not adjust it. It will remain 40 only. For instance, like if we make the applied force 30 Newton, the F will be 30. If we make the applied force 35 Newton, this F would be 35. When you make it 40, then this will also be 40. But when you exceed that value, suppose you're making it 42 Newton, then the applied force will not be equal to 42 Newton, because it is not, it can adjust up to 40 Newton. No? So it will remain 40 Newton only. That means for all the values of forces beyond 40, the friction force will be always 40 Newton only. But the applied force value is less than maximum value, then friction force will adjust that value and it will be equal to the applied force. So consider all these values and all these points, and we will see one example where we can apply all this logic, all these points. So that will be in next video. Thank you very much.